Before the terror that gripped Amherst, Nova Scotia, there was tranquility. Esther Cox was an ordinary young woman living in an extraordinary time. Born in 1860, Esther grew up in a modest home, surrounded by the close-knit fabric of a small-town community. Life in Amherst was simple and serene, the kind of place where everyone knew each other's names and secrets were hard to keep. Esther was known for her kind heart and gentle spirit. She worked diligently to support her family, never imagining that her life would soon be turned upside down. Amherst itself was a picturesque town, with cobblestone streets, charming houses, and a peaceful ambiance that belied the horrors to come. In this quiet setting, Esther's days were filled with routine, and her nights with restful sleep. But as the sun set on Amherst, shadows began to creep into Esther's life. Little did she know, the tranquility she had always known was about to be shattered by forces beyond comprehension. This is the story of Esther Cox, a young woman whose life was forever changed by the unexplained. As we delve deeper into her tale, remember that even the calmest waters can hide the most treacherous storms. Stay with us as we uncover the mysteries that turned Esther's world upside down. As the days passed, Esther Cox began to notice subtle changes in her once peaceful home. It started with small, almost imperceptible disturbances, objects slightly out of place, faint whispers that seemed to come from nowhere, and an inexplicable feeling of being watched. At first, these occurrences were easy to dismiss. Esther attributed them to her imagination or the natural creaks and groans of an old house settling. But soon, the disturbances became harder to ignore. One chilly autumn evening, as Esther was preparing for bed, she felt an unusual draft brush past her, despite all the windows being firmly shut. Shivers ran down her spine, but she shrugged it off, pulling her blanket tighter around her. However, the cold seemed to seep into her very bones, making it impossible to find warmth. Then came the noises, soft at first, like the distant murmuring of voices. Esther would strain to listen, but the moment she focused, the sounds would vanish, leaving her in unsettling silence. Soon, these whispers gave way to louder, more distinct sounds. Footsteps echoing in the hallways, doors creaking open on their own, and the unmistakable sound of furniture being moved. Each night, Esther found herself lying awake, her heart pounding in her chest, as the disturbances grew more frequent and more intense. One particularly terrifying night, Esther awoke to the sensation of her bed shaking violently. She sat up, her eyes wide with fear, but there was no one there. The room was empty, yet the bed continued to tremble as if gripped by invisible hands. Panic surged through her, and she ran to her sister's room, seeking comfort and answers. But even as she tried to explain what was happening, the house remained eerily silent, as if mocking her fear. The once serene home had become a place of dread, and Esther could no longer deny that something unnatural was at play. The small disturbances had escalated into a full-blown haunting, and the peaceful life she once knew was slipping away, replaced by a growing sense of terror. As the nights grew longer and the shadows deeper, Esther realized that she was no longer safe in her own home. The haunting had only just begun, and the true horror was yet to come. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the chilling events that plagued Esther Cox and the dark forces that turned her life into a living nightmare. As the haunting of Esther Cox continued, the disturbances escalated from eerie whispers and cold drafts to violent and chaotic manifestations that left Esther and those around her in a state of constant fear. It was as if the unseen force had grown stronger, more malevolent, and determined to wreak havoc in the once peaceful home. Objects began to move on their own with alarming frequency. Chairs would slide across the floor, books would fly off shelves, and dishes would shatter against walls without any apparent cause. One evening, as Esther sat in the living room with her family, a heavy candlestick lifted off the mantelpiece and hurled itself across the room, narrowly missing her head. The family could no longer dismiss these occurrences as mere coincidences. Something sinister was at work. The poltergeist's aggression didn't stop at moving objects. It soon began to manifest in more dangerous ways. Small fires would break out spontaneously, leaving scorch marks on walls and furniture. On several occasions, these fires erupted in rooms where no one had been, and the smell of burning would linger long after the flames were extinguished. But the most terrifying aspect of the haunting was the physical attacks on Esther herself. She would wake up with unexplained bruises and scratches on her body, as if clawed by invisible hands. One night, as she lay in bed, she felt an intense pressure on her chest, making it difficult to breathe. It felt as though someone, or something, was trying to strangle her. Her screams brought her family rushing to her side, only to find her gasping for air, with red marks forming around her neck. Her family, friends, and neighbors were all witnesses to these horrifying events. Esther's sister, Jenny, recounted one night when she saw a heavy bureau lift off the ground and crash down violently, all while the room was empty except for Esther. Neighbors reported hearing loud bangs and crashes coming from the house at all hours, and some even claimed to have seen shadowy figures lurking near the windows. The once serene home had become a battleground, and the terror that gripped Esther and her family was palpable. The poltergeist's violent outbursts were relentless, leaving them in a constant state of fear and anxiety. The sheer force and unpredictability of the attacks made it clear that this was no ordinary haunting. As we delve deeper into the story of Esther Cox, we will explore the theories and attempts to rid her of this malevolent presence. Stay tuned as we uncover the desperate measures taken to bring peace to Esther's tormented life and the lingering questions that remain unanswered to this day. As the terrifying events surrounding Esther Cox reached a fever pitch, the small town of Amherst was thrown into a state of turmoil. News of the haunting spread quickly, and the community found itself divided between believers and skeptics. Desperate for a resolution, Esther's family sought help from anyone who might offer a solution to the relentless torment. The local authorities were among the first to get involved. Sheriff White, a man known for his level-headedness, visited the Cox household to witness the disturbances for himself. Despite his initial skepticism, he couldn't deny the strange occurrences he observed. Objects moved without explanation, and the air seemed charged with an unsettling energy. However, even his authority and presence could do little to quell the chaos. Doctors were called in to examine Esther, hoping to find a medical explanation for her condition. Dr. Carritt, a respected physician in the town, conducted thorough examinations, but found no physical ailments that could account for the violent episodes. He was left baffled and, like many others, began to question the nature of the disturbances. Was it a case of mass hysteria? Or was there something truly supernatural at play? The townspeople, too, were drawn into the mystery. Some neighbors organized prayer meetings, hoping that divine intervention might bring peace to Esther and her family. Others, more skeptical, suggested that Esther was fabricating the events for attention, or was perhaps mentally ill. This skepticism only served to isolate Esther further, adding to her emotional and psychological burden. The toll on Esther was immense. The constant fear and physical attacks left her exhausted, and the doubt cast by some members of the community weighed heavily on her. She felt trapped in a nightmare from which there seemed no escape. Despite the numerous attempts to help, each effort ended in failure, leaving Esther and her family feeling more desperate and alone than ever. As we move forward, we will explore the various theories proposed to explain the haunting of Esther Cox, and the lengths to which people went to try and bring an end to her suffering. The story of Esther Cox is not just one of supernatural terror, but also of a community grappling with the unknown and the impact of fear on the human spirit. Stay with us as we delve deeper into this chilling and complex mystery. As the haunting of Esther Cox continued to baffle the residents of Amherst, experts and lay people alike began to propose various theories to explain the inexplicable events. The question on everyone's mind was simple yet profound. Was it real? Some suggested that Esther's experiences were the result of mental illness. In an era where understanding of psychological disorders was limited, the symptoms of hysteria or a severe trauma response could easily be misinterpreted as supernatural. Dr. Carrot himself speculated that Esther might be suffering from a psychological condition, but he could find no definitive evidence to support this theory. Another popular explanation was mass hysteria. The small, close-knit community of Amherst was fertile ground for collective anxiety. As stories of the haunting spread, fear and suggestion could have led to a shared belief in the supernatural, even causing people to witness events that weren't happening. Yet, this theory struggled to explain the physical phenomena observed by multiple witnesses, including the skeptical Sheriff White. On the other end of the spectrum, some researchers and paranormal enthusiasts posited that Esther was indeed the target of genuine poltergeist activity. Poltergeists, known for their mischievous and often violent actions, have been reported throughout history. Could it be that Esther's intense emotional state somehow attracted or generated these disturbances? This theory, while fascinating, remained controversial and lacked empirical evidence. Scientific attempts to rationalize the haunting also fell short. Investigators used early forms of electromagnetic field detection and other rudimentary equipment to seek natural explanations. Despite their efforts, they could not account for the movement of objects, the strange noises, or the physical attacks Esther endured. Despite the numerous theories, none could fully explain the complex and terrifying experiences of Esther Cox. Each explanation had its merits and flaws, leaving room for endless debate and speculation. In the end, the haunting of Esther Cox remains an enigma, a story that challenges our understanding of reality and the human mind. Whether you lean towards a psychological, sociological, or supernatural explanation, one thing is certain: the mystery of Esther Cox continues to captivate and puzzle us to this day. As we conclude our exploration of this chilling tale, we invite you to share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. What do you believe happened to Esther Cox? Could there be an explanation we haven't yet considered? Join the conversation and let us know your perspective on this haunting mystery. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more intriguing stories from the annals of the unexplained. As abruptly as it began, the haunting of Esther Cox eventually came to an end. For reasons that remain unclear, the poltergeist activity lessened and finally ceased altogether. Esther, who had been at the epicenter of inexplicable chaos, found herself once again in a semblance of normalcy. Life for Esther post-haunting was far from easy. The experiences had left her emotionally and physically scarred. She moved away from Amherst, attempting to escape the shadow of her past. Despite her efforts, rumors and whispers followed her. Some people continued to believe she was cursed or marked by the supernatural, while others viewed her with skepticism, suspecting deceit or mental instability. Esther tried to rebuild her life, working various jobs and even getting married. She rarely spoke of the haunting, perhaps hoping to leave that chapter firmly behind her. However, the lingering mysteries and the trauma she endured undoubtedly shaped her remaining years. In Amherst, the story of Esther Cox became a part of local folklore, a chilling reminder of the thin veil between the known and the unknown. Visitors and paranormal enthusiasts continued to seek out the small town, hoping to catch a glimpse of the eerie history that had once gripped it. The haunting of Esther Cox remains one of Canada's most perplexing mysteries. Despite numerous investigations and theories, the true nature of the events she experienced has never been definitively explained. Was it a case of psychological distress, a manifestation of collective fear, or genuine paranormal activity? The answers elude us. As we reflect on Esther Cox's final days and the haunting that left an indelible mark on her life, we are reminded of the enduring power of the unexplained. The story of Esther Cox serves as a testament to the human spirit's resilience in the face of the unknown and the mysteries that continue to captivate our imaginations. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of history's most enigmatic hauntings. If you have theories or thoughts on Esther Cox's story, please share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the world of the unexplained. As we delve into the legacy of the great Amherst mystery, we find ourselves confronting a tale that refuses to fade into obscurity. The haunting of Esther Cox has left an indelible mark not only on the town of Amherst, but also on the broader realm of paranormal investigations. Long after Esther's final days, the events that transpired in her life continue to echo through the corridors of history. Paranormal researchers and enthusiasts are drawn to her story, using it as a cornerstone in the study of poltergeist phenomena. The case of Esther Cox has inspired countless books, documentaries, and investigations, each attempting to unravel the enigma that remains stubbornly unsolved. One of the most compelling aspects of this mystery is its enduring nature. Despite advancements in science and psychology, the haunting of Esther Cox stands as a testament to the unknown. It challenges our understanding of reality and forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge. Was it a psychological anomaly, a collective hallucination, or a genuine encounter with the supernatural? These questions remain open, inviting endless speculation and debate. The Great Amherst Mystery captivates us because it embodies the quintessential elements of a classic haunting, unexplained phenomena: a tormented central figure and a community gripped by fear and intrigue. It serves as a reminder of the thin veil that separates the known from the unknown, the natural from the supernatural. As we reflect on the legacy of this haunting, we are reminded of the power of storytelling and the human desire to seek answers. The story of Esther Cox continues to inspire curiosity and wonder, urging us to look beyond the surface and question what we believe to be true. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of Canada's most perplexing mysteries. If you have theories or thoughts on the haunting of Esther Cox, please share them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the world of the unexplained.